an astute observation that there could be, depending on how the transition is managed, there could be instability in the South itself. First of all, we have pending issues: the citizenship issue, the northern in the South, the southerners in the north, the two armies, the Joint Integrative Unit, as well as the border demarcation, and the pending issue, the consultation on IBA, Southern Kordofan, the Blue Nile. One of the proposals that was advanced was the dual citizenship for this border region, because they are culturally, historically southern, but politically they're considered to be northern regions. Is that something that the Sudan People's Liberation Movement is endorsing, this dual citizenship for the region, those contested regions?
Not actually about those two regions. It is generally if you wanted to be in southern Sudan and you are from the north and you have been there, living there, you have a right to be a citizen of the south, and you can also be a citizen of the north if you want to. That is why I was saying that the position of the SPLM is very clear, and the government of Southern Sudan, that let the people decide. If they are staying in Southern Sudan, they should not just be asked to leave. Or if you are staying in Northern Sudan and you are Southern Sudanese, you should not be just asked to leave. There are some people who want to continue staying there, in the north or in the south. So they can have both citizenship. And
the other question that is even more concerning is this, and there are two reports. One of the reports claims that the land in South Sudan, 10% of the land has been sort of leased out. But I know that the government of South Sudan has come out and said the lease is not acknowledged, so long as it's not signed by the government of South Sudan. Can you comment on that?
It is true. There is no way a local authority can actually lease a land to a foreign government or to a foreign investor without the federal government, the government of South Sudan. Definitely, if there is any lease that is involving, foreign investor, definitely the government of South Sudan has to look into it and maybe cancel it, or even decide to maybe look into it so that we can have a final lease.
And I know that the IBA issue has been discussed over and over again. I know that the ABC commission that was formed came out with a proposal, and then that proposal was sort of rejected, and they went to The Hague, and there was a ruling on it. And I know that part of IBA was actually given to the North, but the North rejected that offer again. So where are we in terms of the consultation, public consultation of IBA? Where are we today?
Well, you said it very well. We have actually gone to The Hague, and also the IBA Boundary Commission Board was rejected. In The Hague, we went to The Hague, and the ruling was made. We, both of us, the National Congress Party, SPLM, we have agreed and accepted the ruling of The Hague. But later on, the National Congress Party jumped away from the ruling. Yes, you put it right. We lost east and west and north part of our land. We actually lost it. But we accepted the ruling. So now where we are is basically saying that implement the ruling of The Hague, and also let the people of IBA, especially the 9 more Dinka chieftains, decide if they wanted to continue, because they were the ones who actually were transferred in 1905. If you were transferred to a certain area, you should be the one to be asked, do you want to come back where you were transferred from? You cannot actually be joined by those who you were transferred to. It has to be you who were transferred to be asked, do you want to come back or not? If you decided to continue staying there, that would be your choice. But if you wanted to come back, then that would be your choice. This is why we are saying the people who were transferred in 1905, the Ngok Dinka chieftains, they should be the ones to be asked if they wanted to come to the south or they wanted to stay in the north. And for now, yes, we are actually still debating, because the north is also rejecting all the rulings. And we are hoping that AU President Kambo Mbeki, the former president, and his team will help us in having a final solution.
And there's also, I know that there was a commission that was formed to put together a preliminary document that was to review the interim constitution in Southern Sudan. And there's apparently a conflict because it was supposed to be sort of inclusive of all the political parties in Sudan, as well as civil society organization and faith-based organization. But then there is talk about a presidential decree that was passed in February, and another that was passed, I think, in March, which convened, I think, a 24-member committee, but they all came from the SPLM. And some of the political parties are claiming that they were not part of that. Can you comment on that? Because it seems to be something that is...
This actually Constitutional Review Commission
Yes.
or committee was actually established, by the president on technical ground. These are technocrats to actually put the constitution together and then prepare it so that the political parties and others can actually discuss it and debate it. And then now, when the other political parties say we should be also represented, the president says, okay, that's fine. They were actually brought on board. But when you are actually having a technical team working, trying to revise the constitution, and you have politicians also being involved, then you will not have actually a very free and fair, transparent process. That's why we are saying let the technical people do the work, and then actually bring it to the politicians, parliament, and civil society. Now they are involved, and everybody is involved. These are the political parties which are actually trying to write the constitution to create themselves seats, and you don't do that. You write constitution the way it is and the way it should be seen by the public, so that later on then it can be implemented.
And I have a couple of last questions before I let you go. The legacy of Garang. Garang was not just a liberation fighter. He was also a scholar, a statesman, and a politician. And he wrote a lot. And I've had a chance to read some of his speeches. Garang always talked about the vision of the new Sudan. And prior to the CPA, the Sudan. But then after the vote was do you think that vision of the new Sudan, with its premise, the conceptual what Garang used to call as Sudanese social dispensation, social political dispensation, that is uniquely Sudanese. Do you think it's relevant today as it was back then in the north, in the south? Is it relevant? What is the legacy? What did Garang leave to all of us?
Basically, Garang is saying, regardless of the outcome of the referendum, the new Sudan is basically simple. It is basically saying that a Sudan that is actually inclusive, free, fair, secular, transparent, and actually free of injustices. And this Sudan, this new Sudan with all of this embodied into it, we all can live into it. But if we fail to actually live in this Sudan, we can have too many Sudans and still implement the vision of the Tijan in Southern Sudan and also in Northern Sudan. Because basically in Southern Sudan, you need the vision of the Tijan. Because, for example, if you say the Noahs and the Dinka, they took it all and exclude others, then you will have a problem. Or the Zandi, or the Mandari, or the Bari. It has to include everybody. You need to see yourself, this government belongs to me because my community is represented. This government belongs to me because the development is also brought to my community, not only the community of that person. So if the development is applied equally, the government is representative, then you have achieved vision of Israel.
You mentioned something in your speech earlier about a broad base, and the example that comes to mind is Uganda, because when Museveni came to power, he also, in his early days, he also advocated for this notion of broad base, bringing everybody in because if people don't subscribe to the project willingly, they don't consent to it, you have a problem. Because then you have this issue of exclusivity, that some groups are dominating at the expense of other groups. What is the SPLM doing to develop this broad base, to develop this southern identity? Because if everyone is fragmented, we see problems in the future. What is the current project in Southern Sudan to develop a broad base and a common identity?
What we have been actually doing, even we have been mindful about this from the beginning. If you look at the current structure of the government, you can have President Salva, who is from Barghazal, Riek Machar, who is from Upper Nile, and then Waniga, who is from Equatoria. This is Southern Sudan. All of it, regionally, we are all there. And then also, if you look at the ministries, all the 10 states are represented. Then you can actually go into technical details of, okay, what ministry should be given to this place, what ministry should be given to this place. These are the things that we really need to do so that we can actually forge this national identity. Because, personally, I don't think that it is unfair. It is not fair for one community or one region to be excluded from the government or development. And that's why I was saying that it is very, very important for us to avoid the history of the past. Because most of the African countries, when the colonial authorities left, those who were left to govern If it is one community, they dominate all and exclude others. They build their communities, they apply development in their own communities, and others are marginalized and excluded. These people will rebel and fight that community which is actually dominating. And if that community that is dominating is taken out, that community which actually overthrow that community will do the same thing.
And then the cycle continues.
And that is why we left from the whole Sudan, because we have been marginalized, underdeveloped, and excluded from the government. You never had any first vice president who is a Southern Sudanese. You never had any foreign minister who is a Southern Sudanese, let alone the president. So this is why we actually say the SPLM vision of New Sudan can be applied in the north and also in the south. Because in northern Sudan, if you say it is purely Arab and Islamic, you are wrong. There are 45% are Africans, and they need to be represented and not excluded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ezekiel. Thank you.